I'll be talking about something which is probably close to everybody's heart: resilience. Most people think that resilience is like diamond, strong, unbreakable, and made to perfection under pressure. But my life has taught me resilience is not being rigid or hard. It is like water, flexible. When water hits a rock, it doesn't try to show its strength. It tries to pass around. It shifts, but it still continues to flow. That is what resilience is. Research shows something very interesting, very remarkable. Something which actually challenges what we know about adversity. And that is that people who have undergone grief, sorrow, 70% of them after years have come back to say that the worst thing that has happened to them is the best thing that has ever happened to them, because that helped them to reinvent themselves and transform themselves into a better human being. This is not an inspiration I'm trying to share. This is the blueprint for life. And I'll share my story and you will know it. People, when they see me from outside, they usually use one word: resilient. Some people say it out of sympathy. Some people say it in wonder. And some people say it in admiration. So today, I will take you through my life's journey, and you will uncover what resilience means and how it helps you transform and become a better person and reinvent yourself completely. So, years ago, I was riding the wave in my career. I had been promoted 3 times in 4 years. Great. I was in a very senior role. I was respected across stakeholders. My career was in a great trajectory. My seniors respected me. I was in an industry which was very male-dominated. But I was still the woman at the table with a voice. And then I faced harassment at workplace by my reporting manager. Since I was a very senior person in the organization, I questioned my interpretation. I said, maybe I am interpreting it incorrectly. How can somebody, say something to me? I am a senior person. But then it started getting worse. And going to office became traumatic. It started affecting my mental health. And I decided to complain. Because I stood up and complained, I was labeled as a contentious woman in the organization. I was completely ostracized to the level that my office boy refused to serve me coffee. And my team was in complete insubordination. I started to doubt myself. Did I do the right thing? Should I have stood up for this, or should I just have kept quiet? I still get goosebumps when I remember the days when I would go to the washroom, cry silently, and come back to my seat with complete composure and grit. This is 2 versions of me in those days. One is at work in complete agony and pain, and the other one is with my daughter, smiling, but you can still see the pain in my eyes. My daughter was a teenager at that time. I could not let her have a wrong opinion about the corporate world, and I wanted her to be a successful career woman, so I had to be strong and smiling at home. I was grilled for 3 months by the investigation committee, questioned, doubted, absolutely dissected, and then only to be told my complaint is null and void. I was shattered. I didn't know what to do. I was at crossroads. Should I appeal to the board of directors? Or should I just quietly quit and find another job? If I do not raise my voice against harassment, I will make harassment a norm. I'll be guilty of that. And if I go and find another job and leave quietly, I'll regret it all my life. I was broken, but I was not defeated. So I decided to go to the board of directors and appeal. Another investigation committee was formed. I was again grilled for a few months and questioned, doubted. And finally, my perseverance and grit paid, and my complaint was upheld. My reporting manager was asked to resign immediately. Thank you. Justice was finally delivered, but at the cost of my mental health. This winning was not a victory for us, because nobody knows the hidden cost that me and my family paid for being strong in those moments. This whole year of pain, agony, and being doubted transformed me into a very strong human being. I realized that moral resilience, so it is the courage to be ethical when it is very easy to stay silent. And I stood up. And I stood up not only for myself, for all the women in the organization and all the women here, basically. So that moment absolutely transformed me, and I became a very strong person. And life continued. Life started to settle down. My husband, Rajiv, had quit a very lucrative PSU job a decade ago to pursue his passion of promoting ancient Indian wisdom through art of calligraphy. He was still building his initiative, and then he got an opportunity to exhibit at the Abu Dhabi Palace. That was an amazing opportunity. Life was looking blissful once again. And then one day, my phone rang from an unknown number, and the person on the other side informed me that Rajiv had suffered a heart failure in Abu Dhabi. Me and my daughter were completely paralyzed. We didn't know what to do. We somehow gathered ourselves and rushed to Abu Dhabi. With timely medical intervention, he survived, but he was frail. We came back to India. He needed a lot of medicines and a lot of care to live a normal life. But because I'm a very optimistic person, I started to look forward to life once again and was grateful to whatever has happened, but we were safe back home. And then came the pandemic. COVID took away my life partner of 35 years. I could not have imagined my life without Rajiv. He was not only my husband, he was my soulmate. He was my inner strength. I was totally shattered. Grief totally dismantles you. I plunged into deep depression. I needed support, I needed help. I took therapy. I leaned on to my daughter. But my daughter Ashna was also going through that grief of losing her best friend, her father. But she became my pillar of support. And together with my therapist and my daughter, I started to rebuild my life piece by piece once again. But in that silence, I realized that I could not let Rajiv's research on ancient wisdom and his initiative fade away. I looked at his strokes, his devotion to art, his devotion to ancient wisdom, and I started to think that we have to do something about it. And again, me and my daughter started putting all his artworks together and the deep research that he had done on the subject. That was again a few months of deep depression for us, because every time we would sit and look at one artwork, we would go back to the times when he was making that artwork and what he had thought, and we would go through those conversations which were deeply depressing, but we had to make him live once again. So finally, me and my daughter launched this book, first of its kind coffee table book in India, Indian Calligraphy, Unveiling Ancient Wisdom through Rajiv Kumar's Art. Thank you. Thank you. This book was launched by UNESCO, and they recognized it as a significant contribution in documenting India's written heritage. So this milestone was a message for me, that message to transform grief into purpose. I had lost the person who knew my story from the first chapter, but in honoring his story, I found a new beginning. So life has taught me a lot of lessons. It has broken me many times. But I feel that resilience is not about not breaking. It is about getting up, having the courage to get up again and again and again, and move forward with a deeper wisdom. And if I can leave you with one thought today, it is that your pain can be a new story in your life, a new beginning for you. So this is me today. All the pain has become the golden lines in my life, golden seams, which have put together and made me a better person today. Thank you.